Hello, welcome to the class act, 10 minutes that can change your life with Louise Marc. Thank you so much for taking time out to be with me. I really appreciate it. Today my topic is, what type of bearer are you? Are you a bearer of good news, or are you a bearer of bad news? Have you considered which one you represent? Make you wonder, right? Am I a bearer of good news, or am I a bearer of bad news? Have you been categorized by a family member or members, friend or friends, acquaintances, co-workers, fellow ministry members, in your workplace or in your organization, as a particular type of news bearer? Do you bring good news, great news, exciting news, positive life-changing news? Or do you bring bad news, devastating news, sorrowful news, negative life-changing news? Yes, you can be a bearer of good news or bad news. But which one are you? There's a story told in the Word in John 1 verses 40 through 49. You could read that story. It's really a great, the word of scripture is great, of course, life-changing. But read the story of the news, the bearer of the good news there. When one brother tells the other brother good news, and the good news is steady being told forward in the town when Jesus is in the town. Read that story and you will see what I'm talking about, this bearer of good news. The brother was excited, and he went and told the other brother of his excitement, and another brother shared his excitement with another one, so it went on. And it's a great, the word of course is great. And for those who do not know scripture, I encourage you to get to know scripture. But this is not a Bible study moment, but what's in me, I have to share it, right? But are you a bearer of good news, or are you a bearer of bad news? It's really something to consider. Scripture speaks of a talebearers. The word is a compound word. It's broken up into two. Compound is two words put together. Tale bearers. Tale is a story. Bearers is who's telling the story. So who's the carrier? Who's telling that story? The tale bearer. Be careful of tale bearers. You got to be careful what you bearing. What are you saying? Be a bearer of positive news. It's been said bad news travel faster than good news. Why is that, I wonder? Why? Why can't good news travel super fast? But why does bad news travel faster than good news? If you're walking by two or more people and you see them gathered together, and when you approach them, you hear them less and less, it makes you wonder what's going on in that conversation. Are good things being told, or bad things being told? Is that bearer in that group, or amongst them, bearing good fruit or bad fruit? Are they bearing good news or bad news? But I would encourage you, if you were not invited to that bearing moment, keep going. Follow your heart, follow your gut, follow your instinct, and do not stop, because you don't want to be part of a bearer of, it could be life-changing news of someone. Someone may be being torn down, and again, somebody might be being built up. But many times, having experienced where I used to work, yes, I could talk about that because I worked there 30 plus years, and you can speak on where you used to work or where you still work. When you come across individuals congregating, it can't be too positive, especially when you walk by and you don't hear them. But anyway, be careful of pausing to be part of a bearer of possibly bad news that could be tearing someone's reputation down. Be very careful of the news you bear. It's been said also, what would you want someone to tell others about you? So you should be careful about what you say to someone about someone else. So I'll say it again. What would you want someone to say about you? So if you do not want someone to say something about you to someone else, then you have to be careful of what you say to someone else about someone else. So consider yourself when you are bearing a news that is a fact. I know the word says a witness of two. Even in a courtroom, they want witnesses. They ask for witnesses. Did you see this? So be careful what you're bearing. You want to be a bearer of good news, not a news that will affect a life. So be careful of the news you bear. And again, going back to where I work, there are times when people would be in cubicles or in an office setting or wherever they may be, and the groups are gathered there and they're talking, especially if an area only holds so many really comfortably. And you'll see multiple people there, and you don't hear the conversation. And it's a huge office, but that group is so quiet and knit talking, you don't hear it. It makes you wonder, what is it? What's going on in that group? Is it a positive bearing group or is it a negative bearing group? And then many individuals who's part of those groups, people know them. Their characters speak for them. Because are you an individual, or would you be classified as somebody that's coming and people would love to see you come, or do they love to see you go? And if you're sharing a message or a story or a tale, would they say, did you consider that source that shared that with you? Where did you hear that from? Who said that? Be careful of the news you bearing. Have you been part of an example or in school when they started at one end of the room and they whispered in each other's ear across, and by time the information got all the way to the last person, the story changed? That's what happens in tale bearing. Be careful what you are bearing. It's very important to be careful. In addition, are you bearing information that you are asked not to share? You have to be very careful. You were entrusted, you are privileged and valued with information you were asked not to share, and you shared it. There are times people say it's a secret. Well, secret is in the word itself, secret. So if it's a secret, why is a secret being repeated? And if you are valued by someone that was entrusted, again, with private information, and you were asked not to share it, and you shared it, you violated that person's trust. Because there are times individuals will hear something they asked not to be shared being told in a different light, in a different way, but they know it was something that they said to someone, and they asked that person not to share it. And of course, someone shared that story, and it was revealed because the person heard it from somebody else. You know how the story goes. It should never have been shared because someone valued you and trusted you, but you violated that trust. You bared that information that you should not have bared. Be very careful what you are bearing. Remember, you can make a difference in someone's life, be it positively or negatively. Of course, there's times when bad news, of course, travels, media, social media platforms. You have all these multi-news channels that are saying the same story and is being told in different ways. There are times negative news has to be shared. Somebody may have passed. Somebody has to tell the story. Somebody died, somebody had a bad accident, life-changing events that occurs, unforeseen events that occurs. And yes, the story will be told. Someone is going to bear that news. But what type of, that's different. But what type of bearer, talebearer are you? Storyteller. Are you a gossiper? Do you gossip? You know, all of us have been guilty of a form of gossip, but even that's still tale bearing. You know, what are you gossiping? Where you asked not to share, not to tell, and you just couldn't keep it to yourself, and you just had to share it. You violated a trust. Okay, that's what you did. There are times I hear things in a setting, I won't repeat it. It's not worth it to repeat something that can be devastating, that would have that person thinking a certain way about an individual. I remember working, of course, you know my work history a little bit, and I heard someone who's supposed to be a friend say something about another friend. Of course, I didn't repeat it. I wouldn't dare, because I was disappointed, because I saw them as friends, but I was disappointed when that friend said what they said. But it said a lot to me, to be careful, of course, but just be careful what you're sharing. Should you be sharing it? Everything you hear does not need to be repeated. You don't know what devastation what you're sharing would cause to a life, to a person's character, to their livelihood. You just don't know. So be very careful what you share and what you tell. Again, bearing. Are you a bearer of good news, or are you a bearer of bad news? Do people like to see you come, or they love to see you go? What is it that you're sharing? Be very careful. You can impact a life. Recognize what type of person you are, what type of bearer you are. We all have to do self-analysis, self-checks. Me too. You know, none of us have arrived. If you have, I'm really happy for you. And I mean that in a nice, loving way. But, you know, be careful. Be a bearer of great news. Okay, be one that people love the company that's coming versus can't wait for the company to leave. Okay, be very careful. I just wanted to share, pause with you, to encourage you, to inspire you, to enlighten you with what type of bearer are you? Are you a good bearer of good news, or are you a bad news bearer? Because, you know, nobody likes the bad news bearers. You know, sometimes a group, you could be, a group would disperse when they see certain individuals coming. Like, oh no, I'm gone. Bye-bye. Nope. You know they have a story. I'm not sticking around for it. So I say that with a smile, but with a little humor. But it's factual. It's real. You know, you can tell the ones where people, okay, I'm gone. Just don't be the person that people turn and say, I'm gone, because they see you coming. Okay? Don't be that individual. All right? And this is, of course, shared in a loving way. Well, my time is up. This has been the Class Act 10 Minutes with Louise Marc that can change your life. Change your life in a positive way. Okay? Not a negative way. Practice positives. I know there's negatives out there, and I know those of you who know me, I know, but I'm still going to be positive in the midst of negative. It's just, I practice that. I do my best. I'm not perfect either, but I do my best, okay? And I hope you're doing your best as well. Well, my time is up. Inbox me, share this live if you desire. I thank you for it in advance if you do. Someone else could be encouraged by what I've shared. What type of bearer are you? My YouTube channel is The Royal Class, Louise Marc. That is The Royal Class, Louise Marc. My webpage is louisemarc.com. Thank you in advance for communicating with me and for being here with me today. Enjoy your day. Live your life, okay? Live healthy, live smart, just live your life. Enjoy the day God has given you. All right. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.